want to get your thoughts on the second foul called on Garcia. Did you get a good look at it? Did you think it would be called a penalty at first? I know Rivas went over there and took a while before he came back and ruled it.
Yeah, I've only seen one replay, and it was the one on the bench. Initially in the run of play, I thought penalty. When I watched it back, I'm not as convinced as I was when I saw it in the run of play, just because I couldn't tell if the player runs into Emiro, because they're both kind of angling towards the ball and then goes down, or for me it's who kind of makes the initial contact and how does it happen. So again, this was one quick look, so I don't have a big opinion on it. But when I saw it in the run of play, I thought it was going to be trouble for us. When I saw it a little closer, I think forwards can be very clever about running into the angle of the defender who's recovering, and as soon as they fall down, then they put the referee. But then we'll go to your comment, which is clear and obvious shouldn't take that long. Like, if we have such a high standard of what we hear in the meetings, such a high standard of clear and obvious, it shouldn't take that long to make a decision. It should be pretty clear and obvious. But so that's my feeling on the situation. But I think we put ourselves in the situation. So when you do that, bad things can happen to you, and they did in that situation. So.
And just another one. You got the early goal, but what did you like or didn't like from then, the way you guys attacked? Got the chances there?
Yeah, I thought our start to the game was fantastic, and then I thought we struggled to create attacks, build attacks from the back for pretty much the rest of the game. I felt like the combination of the group of players just were having a hard time finding the sync with each other. Between Jacob and Emmy and Mickey, who were kind of in the start, and then the two who were in midfield together haven't spent much time together, so I didn't feel like they were necessarily really working off of each other. So I just felt like we were making a lot of bad reads as it goes to starting our attacks. I felt like we weren't showing up for each other in preparation for what needed to happen next, and felt like we were getting forced into a lot of areas of the field that we didn't necessarily want to be in. So I thought we had a hard time with the ball today. I thought we did some really good defensive work. They gave us the ball back. We gave it right back to them probably 15 to 20 times in the game. I feel like good defensive work. They hit the long ball, we had it right back to them. They give us the pass, we give it right back. And when you do that, you end up in a lot of low block situations because you're losing balls between your lines, and guys just have to recover underneath the ball. So again, whether it was the starting of our possessions because we were having to recover balls deep, or when we even got good pressure to the ball and they gave it to us, we gave it back. So overall tonight, our use of the ball was really poor, I thought, and that led to long defending stretches and ultimately a situation that led to a penalty. So we have to be much better on the ball and keeping the ball.
Hey Greg, actually got two for you. One is, within that defensive work, what did you like most? And it seemed in the first half, it was superior to the second half. But part of that also is situational.
Yeah, I think just our compactness, that we were really close together and we were all underneath the ball for large stretches of the game, and especially in the first half. I thought the first half, one of the things is Gabe was in the back line a lot the first half defensively, which means it was very hard for them to penetrate us, but it was also very hard for us to get pressure to the ball sometimes. And so there's always the potential for risk reward. I didn't think we necessarily needed Gabe in the back line as much as he was in the first half, but there was times when we could push him out of the back line because they weren't really overloading us in the back, and so it wasn't necessary. So the halftime, the read was like, if we don't need Gabe, let's keep him in midfield, let's keep him ahead of us so that we can initiate, but we can also get out of some of these mid-block, lower block defending situations with Gabe a little bit higher. So that was it, but I still think the use of the ball was the biggest problem today. If you don't use the ball well, you're going to defend a lot. If you're losing balls between your lines, and you're going to defend low a lot, and that became it. I felt the start and the energy and some of the flow of some of the actions started to show you that I think the attack for this group is going to be really interesting, but we've got to be able to get the ball to the attackers in the right ways and the right places for them to make their actions happen. If the back guys are struggling to get them the ball the right way, it's going to be hard for the attackers too. So that was disconnected tonight for sure.
After the red card, what did you like and what did you feel from you guys? And before the red card, they've got 60% possession. Is that in part because of the difficulty with the ball?
Oh, for sure, yeah. For sure, on your last question. What I liked was just the mentality of the group. You know, you got to have, even on your best days with the ball, if you have that kind of defensive mentality and willingness to work underneath the ball and work together, and you're much better with the ball, you're going to win a lot of games in the league. And so, but I thought we were that poor with the ball, but I felt like in general, our defensive work we were connected, not always perfect, but we were connected and we dealt with situations. But it was a lot of defending for a lot of guys. And so, I thought that was decent. It's just the mentality part of it was important. And when we went down a man, it's dealing. And we didn't really have a lot of guys, like all of our midfielders are injured at the moment. So in terms of, not all of them, but the replacements that would normally go in for a Sanabria or for even a Justin who just played a lot the other day, we didn't really have those kind of like-for-like guys, so they were grinding it out in the midfield, and it was a lot of work today for the midfield. So I just like the mentality. I think it's important early in the year. I would have liked 3 points, but if you can have those games where you grind early in the year and you get results, they can pay dividends for you long term. I think in 2024, we drew 4 of the first 5 or something like that in some similar fashion. And then you start to find the attacking rhythm and the flow, and things can come out of it. So, things to work on, but also some positives, I guess, in some of those aspects.
Hey, Greg, thank you for your time. Wanted to ask you about the goal scorer, Claus. Gets a goal early, seemed to be pretty active, seemed to bring a couple new dimensions, like you mentioned, preseason. Just your overall thoughts on his first performance here at home.
I thought his work rate, his commitment to the group, the goal, some other moments where he's just strong and he holds up the ball and he gives us that extra piece, all very good. But the striker is only going to be as good as we can get him the ball in the right ways. And because we were bad with the ball, it became a lot of defensive work for him over the course of the game, and then just some duels to keep things up. So when we get better with the ball, I think you're going to see a even better Claus for us on the attacking side and a better connections with those groups. But today he, like everybody else, he laced on his work boots and he did the work up top that he had to do, and so I appreciate that from him today, But there's a lot to be excited about with him up top. I think getting that first goal in the first game is great for his confidence, and he hasn't been here very long, and I feel like since he's been here, all we've done is play games every couple of days, because the last part of preseason we played games every couple of days. And then we were in Panama, and then so we haven't really even worked with him on like attacking actions with the group and finishing and stuff. It's been like it's just been game repetition. So there's a lot to look forward to, I think, with him, and I'm excited for that. But right now we got to get through these games and get good results.
Hey, Greg.
Hey, Sylvie.
Just to riff off what Alex asked you there on Claus, his hustle's unbelievable. I've not really seen him play live a lot. And I just wonder if he's going to be the benchmark for like the press, i.e., can the other players put that intensity in and keep up with him?
I hope so. I mean, that's the expectation. When your striker is leading you in those kinds of ways, you have to commit and go with it. I don't think one of two things is going to happen. He's either going to stop working or the rest of the group is going to keep up. And for me, the rest of the group is going to need to keep up. And so I think that's wonderful. I think that's one of the things we really liked about him was, again, he's defensively aware and he will put in the work, and it's important. And it's one of the things I thought was good today is as a group we were connected. And there's times in preseason, there's a lot of times last year when we were disconnected and isolated and moving all around the field, and I thought today we did a good job of staying a little bit closer together. Even if we weren't high up the field pressing all the time, we were still under the ball and connected. And again, if we're better with the ball, the amount of times that we have to do that and the amount of time that we have to do that is going to be much, much lower. Probably flipped 60-40 if we can be better with the ball most of the time. So.
And then just one real quickie is a new season for you. Doesn't get old, does it? Still fun?
No, the one thing I love about my job is that it restarts again every year. And so, last year it's nice to put it behind us, and now we come in with not a new group, but some new faces and certainly a new mentality. The guys came in fit and the guys came in motivated. They were also all disappointed for last year, so I think there is a mentality that's in this group that we need to use to build to keep improving, but the mentality is certainly better and ready to go. Thank you.
Hey, Greg, thanks for talking to us.
Yeah.
two straight draws to begin the season 1-1s. What were the improvements that you saw from Thursday to today? And then just a quick follow-up on that one. JP seems really motivated to start this year. Perhaps he's trying to get that Ghana World Cup spot. What have you seen from him? Thank you.
So first, it's just the first game and these games down in Central America, they're so hard to, it's so different playing a game down in Central America than playing a game here, and especially at home. And so I just feel like everything down there was just so slow, and the ball was slow, and the field was sticky, and they were just waiting for us, and we didn't do a good job of finding the ways to increase the speed of the game, and our mobility was limited. We struggled putting speed into the game, both because the opponent was really low and also because the game is just heavy down there in general. And so we started well again the last game, and part of that was because they were separated. They were 4-4-2. They gave us a little bit of space to work with between the lines, and we created some early real chances. But after they saw that, they put 5-6 guys in the back line, and they really bogged the game down, and we had a hard time speeding it up. Some of that is the ball just moves slow on the field, and so you came here, and even yesterday in training when the guys started to play in their rondos, and the ball just was moving so much faster. And that's going to be important as we get to Wednesday, because if they come with the same mentality to bog us down, just everything just needs to move quicker. And if it does, we'll create our advantages and our time edges and our chances. So that the games are just so different, it's hard to say. But I liked today again. The only thing I can say I really liked out of it was just the collective mentality and some of the individual just gritty performances. And I liked the start of the game. The rest of it, I felt like we just did what we had to do by the end, down a man. So there's some other things inside of it that I didn't like, but those are for another day.
One more question in the room, and then we'll go to Zoom.
Hey, Greg, thanks for doing this. Another Klaus question for you. I know they're very, very different players, but in what way do you hope that he can help fill that void that Ricky Puig left in terms of productivity?
Yeah, very different players, for sure. But one of the things that I think Klaus does well that has some similarity to Ricky is Ricky, for us, always came down low, picked up the ball, played the ball through the lines, built speed into the action, and then he arrived into the box as the trailer. But he was able to set Gabe and Joe in motion and change the speed of the game. And Joe and Gabe aren't great at changing the speed of the game, but they are great at keeping the speed of the game once it's been changed. What Zhao does in a higher line, I think, is because he's a good target and he's a good passer, you can play into him, and he can strong and hold the ball and get on the half turn, and he can play the wingers into the space, and then he arrives into the box. It's something that I think he's very good at. I keep referencing a moment in preseason, the Gabe scores, where we play into him. He gets on the turn, and he's just patient, and Gabe runs off of it, and he slips the ball between the two defenders, and Gabe finishes it first time. That's an example of what I think he can do for this team, which is unleash our wingers into spaces and then arrive into finishing areas to score. So that's probably the only similarity I would put in those two. But we're hoping that he can come, and I think he can be a guy who can score as many goals or get as many assists as he can goals, because he has sort of that vision and that eye for a pass. Yeah.
We'll head to Zoom for the next question. Go ahead, Josh.
Hey, Greg, thanks for taking the time to answer questions. Just one for you, and I hope I didn't miss it at the beginning of it. But on Mero Garces, he picks up that yellow card in the first half. We know that Mero can be a pretty aggressive player. Was there concern of keeping him on the field and picking up that yellow card? Did you think about possibly pulling him at halftime?
We actually had Maya standing right next to me, ready to go in for him. So I just needed one more stoppage, and it was happening. So. Yeah, unfortunately, the timing was the timing. We were talking about it. I told Maya within 15 minutes or less he was going to be going. So it's something that we knew we were going to be dealing with. I was as much concerned just as he was getting what looked like getting a little bit tired, and things were running off of him and stuff like that. And he's been managing a little bit of an issue physically, and so we just felt like we needed to. But the yellow was part of it. We wanted to change part of our defensive rotation so that he wasn't stepping out of the back line and trying to close people down into the midfield. So we did change that, and his job was to stay more in the back line, and we were going to release Julian to some of those situations, and Amiro would just cover the back line so that he wasn't stepping out into these highly aggressive situations. But when he stayed in the line, sometimes he doesn't see the runners that are coming off his back shoulder. We've got to do a better job of communicating across our line, and it was one of those. It wasn't the first instance, but it was the one that caught us on the night, and we have to be better about dealing with those situations.
Thanks, Greg.
Yep.
Last question for Greg on Zoom. Go ahead, Christian.
Thanks. Hi, Greg. Good evening. Thanks for your time. So, Galaxy has 3 important Brazilian players in the squad. How much does their versatility expand your tactical options, especially in games like tonight that demand quick transitions and the high intensity? Thanks a million.
Yeah. The 3 Brazilian players was the question. Yeah, they give us all 3 attackers, all 3 very competent on the ball guys. Obviously, all 3 of them for us, especially, and you mentioned that some of the transition situations can be very useful for us. But for me, it's going to be just how they connect within the rest of the group. I know there's a good relationship amongst the 3 of them off the field, but it's continuing to build that relationship on the field so that Joe and Klaus, and specifically because they just don't have as many, not Joe, sorry, Gabe and Klaus specifically because they just haven't had many repetitions, continue to get used to each other because Klaus is going to be a great resource for Gabe when he's picking up the ball and he's coming across the middle and he can play into the striker and keep moving off of that. It's one of the things we want Gabe to be doing is be on the move a lot more this year than when I felt he was last year. And so, they're a great addition to our group, and I think their level is going to keep rising. Okay.
Thank you, Greg.
Thanks, everyone. Good to see you.